Hey there, come on in. I got a sweet tooth today. I have a taste for some delicious donuts. Although I'm not going to drive 41 miles to the nearest Krispy Kreme to get them. So I'm going to make me some at home. All right, in the bowl, I have 3 cups of bread flour. I've sifted that flour. Even though it's sifted, or even though it says it's sifted on the package, during shipping, it settles again. So we need to sift it again. We want light and fluffy donuts. So I've added a half teaspoon of salt and a fourth teaspoon of nutmeg in here already. All that is sifted together. Now I'm going to add a fourth cup of sugar and 7 grams of yeast. I'm using fast acting instant yeast. I prefer using fast acting yeast as opposed to the kind that you need to have bubble up. So I'm going to mix this well. It's very important to get that yeast and sugar completely mixed around as best as you can. Now I'm going to be kneading this dough by hand. If you have a stand mixer, by all means, go ahead and use that. Now we have to switch over to a big mixing spoon. I'm going to create a well or hole in the center. I'm going to put in 4 tablespoons of very soft room temperature butter. It has to be soft. See? Very mashable, very soft. Okay. 1 whole egg that I've beaten already. And you want to get all that in there. And this is a large egg. As you can see, I'm trying to get all of that beaten egg in there. Now, I'm going to add 1 cup of milk. And the temperature of the milk needs to be according to the package label of the yeast that you're using. Now, I am going to use a richer milk, evaporated milk, because I want the taste of it in the actual dough of the donut when I bite into it. No water, not whole milk. I'm using evaporated. Now, of course, you can use whole milk if you like, no problem. But for flavor, I'm going to use evaporated milk. So I'm going to mix this around to combine to make the dough. Then I'm going to bring it out onto my work surface and I'm going to knead it. And I'm going to knead it by hand for about 8 to 10 minutes, is usually long enough, until my dough has become very workable and pliable and manageable. And I have some flour in a cup here to the side to help me work this dough and manage it. And I need my dough scraper. For me, it's an absolute must. It helps so much. Now let's get our dough out on the counter. And it's about to get a little messy. Excuse me. As I combine all this together. So we have some butter in there that we want to get mixed all the way around into the dough as well. So what I like to do is when I get that dough to where I can halfway at least manage it, I do this. Just sort of like slap the dough down, sort of roll it a little, push it. I'm going to do this for about 8 to 10 minutes until the dough is pliable, smooth. The dough will become sticky. So you want to use that extra flour there, about a teaspoon or a half a teaspoon to a teaspoon at the time, because you don't want to get too much dough, too much dry flour into your dough, just some to help you manage the dough, because you'll end up with a dry donut or bread, and we don't want that. So as you can see, as I'm kneading this dough, and this is the, some call it the slap and fold method. I call it method. I'm sorry. I call it a throw and slap, or throw and roll, either one you want. If you feel it getting really sticky, that's when you come in with a little bit of flour, like a half teaspoon at the time, something like that. Yeah. And as you can see, the dough is much more manageable, and it's becoming more elastic, more manageable, more pliable, and less sticky. Okay, my dough is ready. It is pliable. As you can see, it's not sticking, although a pinch of flour I will use to maintain that. Consistency. Now I'm just going to press this out to probably about a half an inch. I have a baking pan here that I've lined with some parchment paper. This is where I'm going to put the donuts as soon as I cut them. Now I'm going to be using a donut cutter. You do not have to have a donut cutter. You can use the mouth of a plastic cup and a lid that's about the size of the inside of a donut, like making the donut hole. So as I'm pressing, I'm going to make sure that my dough is not wet down here, where it will not be sticking once I cut them and get ready to pull them up. Okay, now we will cut. And voila, we have our first donut. Of course, this is just going to pop right out. We have our donut hole, but you definitely can cook and eat that. So I'm going to continue to cut the donuts out and place them on my pan. Okay, isn't that beautiful? I'm going to round it a little bit. We want it smooth and nice looking, right? Now we have gotten down to some scrap pieces. I'm going to bring those together, tuck it under like that, back on the counter. Bring the bottom together, squeeze it together like that, and just give it a roll. We're bringing the dough back together. And we're just going to press it out so that we can cut out a couple of more donuts. Make sure it stops sticking. In we go. Okay. Just that simple. Continue to do that until you've used up all the scraps of dough. And with the bowl, you can just make a ball. And then once you've made it, the dough is very workable, so you can work it. Many different ways to do that. Okay, I've cut the donuts and the holes in my two little scrap pieces here that I had left. Now I'm going to put this in a warm area of my kitchen and we'll allow it to rise. Let it double in size. This could be up to an hour, maybe a little bit more, depending on how warm your kitchen area is. Stay tuned. Okay, the donuts have doubled in size. I'm about to fry them. And as soon as I fry them, I'm going to be dropping the donuts on here to get rid of any excess oil from the donuts. I'm going to be frying the donuts in my 10-inch skillet. I have it half full of grease. Cooking oil, I should say. Vegetable oil at that. I'm going to get it hot, bring it up to about 350 degrees, 325, something like that. And I'm going to slow fry them, about 1.5 minutes on each side, if not a little bit more time. Okay, let's put our first round of donuts in. Very gently. We don't want to tear them. We don't want to bend them or anything like that. I'm going to do 3 at the time. I'm going to use a fork to bounce them around a little bit. Get that heat spread it over and around. We're going to cook them at least 1.5 minutes on each side. After getting the oil very hot, I brought the temperature down to medium-low for a slow fry. Now I'm going to grab a second fork and flip these over gently, very gently. Now that they're golden brown on the other side, we are going to remove them. Don't forget, there will be some residual heat, and that will continue to cook the donut even after you take it out for at least 1 minute to 1.5 minutes. So don't worry about having raw donuts, and don't try to leave them in there too long. Now it is time for us to make some icing for our donuts. I have in the bowls 1 cup of powdered sugar. I'm putting in 1 teaspoon of melted butter in each. I'm going to put in about a 1/4 teaspoon, if I don't spill it everywhere, of vanilla extract. We're going to have 1 white icing and 1 chocolate icing. So I'm starting with a tablespoon of that chocolate cocoa powder. But I may be using more because I really want it chocolatey. So I'm going to put in 2 tablespoons of milk to begin in each bowl. I'm going to complete the white icing first. And we need probably a teaspoon more of that milk. Okay, so the white icing is complete. I'm just mixing. Make some room here where you can see what I'm doing. Okay, just gonna complete it by mixing it well. Make sure there's no lumps and humps and all that stuff in it. Now we have our white icing. Good and ready to go. Now, let's make the chocolate. I think I need a teaspoon more, 1/2 teaspoon. At least a 1/2 teaspoon more. And I think that's gonna be chocolatey enough for me. Gonna mix that well, make sure there's no dry lumps in there. Okay. Houston, we have liftoff. Okay, gonna go in with the donuts. They're still hot, but they have drained the excess oil off because I put them on the rack. I'm gonna flip that over. Bring some of that chocolate up there. And I'm short on space here, counter space that is, so I'm just going to get it covered. Let it drip. I'm going to put it on another pan that I have to the side here with the rack on it. And I'll show you that in the end. Dripping chocolate everywhere. So that's basically it. Just going to cover them now and let them sit for a minute or two after you've dipped them in your icing. Just let them sit for a minute or two. Very simple. Oh, I can almost taste the donut already. Smells so good in here. Now that I've got the chocolate donuts covered, we're going to do the white icing. Chocolate is my favorite, but the white is perfectly fine. Oh, look at that gooiness. Can you make sure you can see that? Look at that gooiness. Look at what we have here. The donuts are ready. Oh, I can't wait to bite into this thing. Oh. That is delicious. Ooh. Oh. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy.